Okay, so imagine, right, you're an emperor, Rome, the whole shebang, wars, plagues, you name it.
Talk about pressure.
No kidding. And in the thick of it, you find peace, not in conquering, but in journaling, reflecting. That's Marcus Aurelius for you.
The philosopher emperor.
Exactly. And that's our deep dive today, Meditations. Specifically book 7, sections 23 through 29, like stepping into his sandals.
It's incredible, isn't it, how these writings still resonate centuries later.
Totally. It's like peering into this timeless struggle.
Because he wasn't some detached philosopher theorizing from afar, he was living it.
Oh yeah, real life, high stakes stuff.
And finding guidance in Stoicism.
And not just talking about it, but actively using it. Like he's building his own personal toolkit, pulling wisdom from other thinkers. Like this one from Antisthenes, it is a princely thing to do well and to be ill spoken of. Whoa.
It's powerful, right?
Absolutely. How do you interpret that?
It cuts to the core of Stoicism, really. Virtue. It's not about seeking praise, external validation. It's about doing what's inherently right. Aligning your actions with virtue, even if you're misunderstood.
Even if the world is saying you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. And you can see how crucial that would be for Aurelius leading an empire, trying to live by that kind of internal compass.
That's about pressure.
Absolutely. Barbarian invasions, political betrayals. He faced it all. And yet, he reminds himself and us that real strength, it doesn't come from outside.
That's an inside job.
Exactly. Choosing where you direct your energy, focusing on what you can control. Your own actions, your responses. Not about being emotionless, but about aligning your focus.
With virtue.
Yes.
And he takes this even further, quoting Plato in section 26. A person of worth shouldn't fear death, but should focus on living virtuously. It's like, okay, all this responsibility, but what truly matters at the end of the day?
It's a big question.
Huge. And then there's that part where he talks about viewing the world almost like we're above it all, seeing the bigger picture. He says, as from some higher place.
The Stoic cosmic perspective. Imagine this. You're an astronaut. You're looking down at Earth.
Wow.
All those problems that felt so huge, tiny, against the backdrop of the cosmos. Now, that doesn't mean our problems vanish, but it helps us detach from that immediacy of our worries.
It's amazing how a shift in perspective can do that.
It's like zooming out on a map. Suddenly you see things differently.
You get your bearings. And I think that ties into how he talks about the transient nature of reality in those next sections. Almost poetic, the way he describes the stars, the elements, the cyclical nature of everything. And then this line, whether a man be a spectator for 40 years or 10,000 years, what shall he see more? It gives me chills.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it? Our own mortality, the fleeting nature of life. And it's not new. Even back then, people grappled with it.
Trying to outrun the inevitable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Seeking meats and drinks and diverse charms, as Marcus Aurelius puts it. Trying to delay what we can't outrun.
It's like that resistance is just part of being human. But what's interesting is how he doesn't shy away from it. It's like he's saying, confronting that impermanence, that can be liberating.
Absolutely. Because when you accept that everything is temporary, those attachments we cling to, material possessions, external validation, even those worries about the future, they start to lose their grip a little.
It's not about becoming passive.
No, not at all. It's about recognizing what you can control. Your actions, your character.
Which brings us to how Aurelius wrestles with the true measure of a person.
The heart of the matter.
It's like he's asking, okay, the universe is vast, life is short, now what? And that's where things get really interesting. But before we get to that, we'll take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, so we're back, and I'm really curious to dig into this idea of what truly matters, according to Marcus Aurelius.
It's a question that haunts all of us, isn't it?
Totally, and it's like, after exploring the cosmos, the vastness of it all, the fleeting nature of life, he turns inward, asking himself, what's the real measure of a person?
That's where things get personal.
Exactly. And this is where I think it becomes so relevant to us, even now.
Absolutely. Because he's not just talking about these grand cosmic ideas. He's wrestling with how to actually live them out.
And he doesn't go easy on himself. In sections 28 and 29, it's like he's holding up a mirror, posing these questions, almost like mini self-evaluations. He hath a stronger body, but is he more bountiful, more modest?
Challenging himself.
Constantly. It's like he's saying, am I living up to my own standards? And those standards, they're not about worldly success.
No, not at all. He's measuring himself against something deeper, those core Stoic virtues, wisdom, justice, courage, temperance.
It's about inner character, not outward appearances.
Exactly. And that, I think, is such a powerful message for us today. especially now with social media, this constant pressure to project an image. Aurelius reminds us that real worth, it doesn't come from likes or followers or even professional achievements.
It's about how you live your life, day in, day out.
Precisely. The quality of your character.
Which, let's be honest, it's easier said than done, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's so easy to get caught up in comparisons, striving for that external validation.
It's human nature.
And here's Aurelius, an emperor. He had power, wealth, you name it, yet even he grappled with these very human struggles.
And that's what makes him so relatable. He's not some untouchable figure preaching from on high. He's right there with us, striving.
Totally, just trying to figure it out.
Constantly reminding himself to align his thoughts, his actions with those Stoic virtues, recognizing that virtue isn't some destination, it's a journey.
It's like a constant process of self-improvement.
That's it.
And that idea of aligning with virtue, it takes me back to that quote. It is a princely thing to do well and to be ill-spoken of. It's like he's saying, it doesn't matter if the world gets it. Stay true to those inner principles.
Because that takes courage, especially when you're facing those tough choices, external pressures. But for Aurelius, it always came back to control. He couldn't control the actions of others or the challenges he faced as emperor.
Right, some things are just out of your hands.
But what he could control was how he responded, how he treated others, how he cultivated his own character.
So it's about focusing on what we can control, our own actions, our inner world.
Because that's where real peace, real fulfillment comes from.
Not from external circumstances. It's an inside job.
Exactly. And while we might not be emperors facing down barbarian hordes, we all have our own internal battles, our own external pressure.
For sure.
And his wisdom. It reminds us that no matter what life throws at us, we have the power to choose how we respond, how we treat others, how we cultivate our own inner strength, our own virtue.
It's about finding that unshakable core within ourselves, even amidst the chaos of the world. And, you know, what strikes me is that Aurelius wasn't just theorizing about this stuff, he was living it in the real world.
And not just any world, he was leading an empire.
If he could find peace, purpose through Stoicism while ruling Rome, imagine what we can do with it in our own lives.
And that's a powerful thought.
It's like we've been handed this ancient roadmap for navigating our own anxieties, our aspirations, and it came from a Roman emperor. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
The power of these ideas, right? They transcend time.
Totally. Because here's Marcus Aurelius, with all the worldly power you could imagine, and what does he find solace in? These principles, this philosophy.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It really does, because aren't these the things we all seek deep down? Peace, purpose, inner strength.
Absolutely.
So how do we take everything we've unpacked and actually make it real in our lives? How do we go from just admiring Aurelius's wisdom to actually embodying it?
It's a process. Yeah.
Definitely not a one-time thing.
And I think it starts with awareness. Just like Aurelius, constantly challenging himself, examining his thoughts, his actions, measuring himself against those Stoic virtues.
It's like a constant self-check-in.
Exactly. So next time you're caught in that comparison trap or feeling the pressure from, well, everything.
Life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pause and ask yourself, what would Marcus Aurelius do?
I love that. Like having him as a virtual mentor, whispering ancient wisdom in our ear.
And it's not about being a purist or living exactly as he did. It's about taking these principles, these timeless truths, and finding what works for us.
Making them our own.
Exactly. Maybe it's focusing on our effort, not just the outcome. Or practicing gratitude, really feeling it. Or maybe it's just taking a moment to tap into that cosmic perspective, remembering we're part of something so much bigger than ourselves.
And remembering that no matter what's happening, we have a choice.
In how we respond.
Yes. Even if we can't control the situation itself.
Which is incredibly empowering when you think about it.
Yeah.
No matter what life throws at us, we have that power to choose our response.
To choose how we show up.
And to choose to align ourselves with those virtues. Wisdom, justice, courage, temperance. And by doing that, we cultivate something really powerful within ourselves.
That unshakable core. And I think that's what makes Marcus Aurelius so inspiring. He wasn't just talking about this stuff. He was living it. And not in some idyllic retreat.
He was leading an empire.
If he could find that peace, that purpose in the midst of all that, imagine what we can do in our own lives.
Exactly.
And on that note, I think we've done a pretty good job diving into the mind of Marcus Aurelius.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. So until next time, Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking wisdom wherever you can find it.
Wisdom, drop it in the verse. Stoic mindset, let the lessons disperse. All cruelty springs from weakness, that's the start. In the face of strength, let the passion impart. Enjoy present pleasures with a foresight gaze. Balance the now, don't let the future waste. Yeah, he who is brave is free. In courage we find the shackles of fear we leave behind. Cynical flow, virtue gain profound. Stoicism, deep wisdom all around. Stoic vibes in every line. In the quotes of life, let the lesson shine. Don't suffer more than needed. Cynic are declared. Face the storm when it comes, don't be scared. How does it help to be more the strife? In the rhythm of life, don't seek out strife. It is not the man who has too little but craves true wealth and contentment, not what enslaves. Yeah, let us say what we feel, let speech be true. Harmonize with life in everything you do. Cynical flow, virtue gain profound. Stoicism, deep wisdom all around. Stoic vibes in every line. In the quotes of life, let the lesson shine.
Profound truth. In the passage of time, find the fountain of youth. While we wait for life, life passes by. Seize the moment. Spread your wings. Let your spirit fly.
Cynical flow, virtue gain profound. Stoicism, deep wisdom all around. Stoic vibes in every line. In the quotes of life, let the lesson shine. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Seneca dropping gems, unlocking unity. The greatest blessings within us and within our reach. Content with the lot, lessons of wisdom preach. True happiness is to enjoy the present, so true. Without anxious dependence, let the joy accrue. Wherever there's a human being, be kind. In the threads of compassion, unity bind. Cynical flow, virtue gain profound. Stoicism, deep wisdom all around. Stoic vibes in every line. In the quotes of life, let the lesson shine. Cynical wisdom echoes in the rhyme. Stoic rap anthem, standing the test of time. In the echoes of ancient philosophy, Seneca's lessons guide, set your soul free.
I did it when I was scared, and I did it when I didn't want to, and I did it when I was ill. And I did it when it didn't work well, and I did it when they didn't appreciate it, and I didn't a lot of times when I didn't know much what I was doing. I just did it anyway. And now all these years later, I'm asked to walk on this stage with the greatest introduction I've ever had, greatest response and welcome I've ever had, the greatest opportunity I've ever had to touch this many lives with a mixture of words and heart and soul. I got better. I got better day by day and week by week and month by month, and I'm asking you to do the same thing until you can develop a long arm and a long reach, until you can develop influence that won't quit. Touch people next year you couldn't touch this year. Touch people now you couldn't touch before. Conduct a meeting now you couldn't conduct before. Heart and soul now mixed in there that wasn't there, missing before. I'm asking all of you to get better in spite of the winters, in spite of the downturn, the money downturn, the social downturn, the personal downturn, whatever it is. Just get stronger. Get better. The key is not to wish for a better winter. The key is to wish for more strength, more wisdom, more courage, get better, get wiser, get stronger. Here's number 2. Learn to take advantage of the spring. Spring means opportunity. And we've got a fresh spring going here. It's called a spring like no other. A spring, an opportunity like no other for you. But here's the clue. Spring is not a guarantee of a harvest in the fall and the autumn harvest time. Here's what you must learn to do. Underline the 2 words if you're taking notes. Take advantage. Take advantage of the spring. Don't just be faked out by the spring because the nice weather has come and looks like everything is going to be a lot better. The winter's finally passed. The spring is here. I'm telling you, that's not going to do it.
If you know how it's done, it doesn't mean it's not magic. Be like the fountain that overflows, not like the cistern that nearly contains.
You have the right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Bhagavad Gita.
A goal is not always meant to be reached, and often serves simply as something to aim at. If you can survive your own thoughts, you can survive anything.
Your life is the space in which all things happen. Eckhart Tolle.
He that hath not one and the self-same general end always as long as he liveth, cannot possibly be one and the self-same man always. But this will not suffice, except thou add also what ought to be this general end. For as the general conceit and apprehension of all those things which upon no certain ground are by the greater part of men deemed good, cannot be uniform and agreeable, but that only which is limited and restrained by some certain proprieties and conditions, as of community, that nothing be conceived good, which is not commonly and publicly good, so must the end also that we propose unto ourselves be common and sociable. For he that doth direct all his own private motions and purposes to that end, all his actions will be agreeable and uniform, and by that means will be still the same man.
They have somewhere to go. What's your desire for your family? What do you want? What do you want as your family? Write that down. What's your desire? Come on. We're getting somewhere. What about your faith? What do you desire to do? Like, I'm not really, I wake up every morning, 3 o'clock, first hour of my day, I dedicate it to my walk and talk with God. What's your faith? I'm not suggesting a particular one for you. I'm not telling you what to do. But if you have a faith, what is it, and how healthy do you want it to be? What's your desired outcome? What kind of fun do you want to have? I just go to Dubai for fun. Anytime I want to have fun, I just go to Dubai. That's my spot for fun. That's just my spot. And then there's a spot, Escarit in Mexico. That's another spot that I like to go to. But those are my two spots when I want to go close, Mexico, when I want to go far, Dubai. Like when I don't want my phone to work, I go to Dubai. When I don't want to be on the same time zone as everybody else, I go to Dubai to get away. All right, so before we go to the next one, all right, I just need you to know, like, you may not have it all now, but when you leave, I need you to know what you desire. Why? Because this is the thing that's going to wake you up, and this is the thing that's going to make you go. So I'm putting kids through college, Super Bowl, Dubai, right? So every day when I wake up, y'all, I'm driven. And most of you are not driven, and you're not driven because you don't have an engine. You don't got an engine. That's the only way you stay driven is that you know what you want. You wake up every single day and you go for it. The people who are not driven, they wake up and they clueless. The people who wake up and they don't know exactly what they want to do, they clueless. The people that are not clear on their life goals, the people that are not clear in every of these areas, they wake up and they wake up whenever they want to, when they wake up sad and they wake up depressed. Why? Because either they don't know what they want or they got this stuff all out of order. Does that make sense? So one of the things we want to do is we want to write it down. We want to put it in the right order. Money does not come first for me. I only need money to house and to take.
Hard times will always reveal true friends. Children make so much noise you can't think, but when they leave the house forever, the silence is maddening. Everything lasts for a day, the one who remembers and the remembered. Marcus Aurelius. The moment poverty walks in through the door, love and peace toss themselves out of the window. While we are postponing, life speeds by.
There's no shortcut, there's no hack, there's only one way, so get after it. Jocko Willink.
He is a true fugitive that flies from reason by which men are sociable. He blind who cannot see with the eyes of his understanding. He poor that stands in need of another, and hath not in himself all things needful for this life. He an aposteme of the world, who by being discontented with those things that happen unto him in the world, doth, as it were, apostatize, and separate himself from common nature's rational administration. For the same nature it is that brings this unto thee, whatsoever it be, that first brought thee into the world. He raises sedition in the city, who by irrational actions withdraws his own soul from that one and common soul of all rational creatures.
You got to stand up inside yourself sometimes and say, shut up! You've got to do this. I was going to give a presentation, and this voice inside of me saying, you can't do this. You don't have everything it takes. Shut up! I am behind on my bills, and you're telling me what I can't do. I have got to do it. You'll get scared sometimes. Your mind will go blank on you. Some people you will allow to unnerve you. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? I'm not crazy. That's why you've got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself. Working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue, it will determine the quality of your life. I don't believe this. I know this. I've had a challenge of losing weight. I'm walking through the airport, this voice say, why don't you have some M&M peanuts? No! Well, just one. Then after you eat that, you might as well have a Snicker now, you sucker. I mean, it's challenging. My mother fixed a kind of sweet potato pie you can't eat with your shoes on. Have to take your shoes off so you can wiggle your toes. It sticks on my fingers. It says, eat it. One little bite won't hurt. That voice, constantly. Little demons from Colonel Sanders driving my car in there. I had to say, no. I'll diet tomorrow. I saw a skinny man get hit by a truck. Had he had a little bit more weight, he might have lived, you know. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Raise your hand if you know that.
You can't litter negativity everywhere and wonder why you have